On Total Apex Sports and Sports Addict Live, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the picture. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off whatever card you want. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing. They have it all. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number one. STRoundcollectibles.com. Promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins.
Welcome to this Friday NHL betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. We're off to a wonderful start on a Friday, starting the show with my mic muted. What better way? It's Friday. I feel like you get away with that kind of stuff on Fridays. You know what I mean? If it's a Tuesday, like Mondays and Fridays is you kind of get like the pass at mistakes. You know what I mean? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you need to be in regular season form. But after the weekend, before the weekend, you get a pass, if you will. But nevertheless, lots to go over from last night in the NHL, plus a pretty good card tonight, 4 games in the NHL. We will break down all of it. I got to say, happy World Series Day to my guy, Andre. I was on Gabe's show, our good friend Gabe, Joe, and Jordan doing their thing. I was on his show yesterday, and I gave a prediction that you're not going to like, but I want you to know that I'm your brother, and I love you, and it's nothing personal. It's just how I feel. Andre, how we feeling on a Friday afternoon?
Feeling pretty good. Still just soaking it in, kind of enjoying the vibes, the hoopla, the quote-unquote media week nonsense. It distracted from the predictable Rangers loss yesterday. And I must say, last night provided it is my favorite goal simulation of the season thus far on NHL.com. So pretty good.
I need to take a look at this thing because I haven't really checked it out yet. I've seen a couple times, but this seems to be like an everyday occurrence for you.
Oh, I look at them all the time. I'm a child, you know. It's kind of nice looking at the X's and O's. It's kind of just nice seeing it play out like that. I'm easy to please. What can I say? But there was a really good one last night.
Well, I wonder if this pleases you. Your guy, Alexis Lafreniere, signs, or Lafreniere, whichever way you want to go about it, signs an extension just a few hours ago with your New York Rangers. $7.45 million, $52.12 million total, I believe, was the exact total of it all. 7 years. How do you feel? I feel like, locking him up, I'm not opposed to. The number I find really curious. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, this is a huge, we expect you to be a lot better moving forward extension to me. Because, if you look at just his numbers, his production throughout his career, Lafreniere, for the most part, nothing pops out. Last year, career high 57 points. But last year also coincided with him bumping up during the season to second and first line play, getting a little bit more time on the power play. Not a ton, but just a little bit more. And the results, they matched. He played with better players, and he did what good players are supposed to do. Even this year, he looks better on the ice. He has 7 points in 7 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. had our only goal yesterday, and it was a pretty nice move to beat Bob. So I mean, he's a good player. I think if he continues on this trajectory, you expect him to get top 6 shifts moving forward. Yeah, it's a good extension. 7.5. That's a lot of these top flight guys are getting 8. He was a first overall pick. The talent's there. He shows up in the playoffs. I think that's most important, especially with where the Rangers are right now.
Yeah.
23 playoff points in 43 games. He had 14 and 16 last year. So, yeah, it's just looking at the raw numbers, you'd probably say, oh, it's an overpay. Moving forward, if he continues to grow and produce the way he has been, let's just say the 2024 calendar year, you're probably going to look at it as an underpay halfway through the deal, maybe towards the tail end. I think what's most important about it is that it's an extension out of the way, and it shows that you don't have to chase the gaudiest number ever to be a part of the New York Rangers.
Is that a knock on my team? Is that a knock on my team?
No, it's a knock on my Russian goalie this time.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, you know how it is here in Toronto. We take everything.
I forgot that everyone uses Toronto to drive up prices. So my bad. Just to clear the confusion, I'm still bitter that Shesterkin wants $15 million a year.
Well, and I think deals like this are going to help them do that, right? I think that's kind of the thing. For me, like Ryan Whitney from Spit and Chicklets, I love those guys. I'm not saying anything like it's whatever. He thinks that it's an over or an underpay. And that, like, Chris Drury is like doing God's work out here, like signing these players, whatever. I don't necessarily feel that way. I don't know if it's an underpay. This feels right. Like, I feel like it's an overpay, obviously, for right now, but that's how most of these deals work with players like this, right? This isn't Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Jack Hughes, like these type of players, Nathan McKinnon, where we know what they're going to be. So you got to overpay now. That's not what this is. I think he's a very good player. He was deemed a bust in New York for the majority of his first few years, right? It was like, what's going on with this guy? He had 91 points in his first 3 seasons before last year. So, I think this is a good number. It is an overpay for right now, but that's how these contracts work, man. Like, you're always paying based on what they're projected to be. I don't know how much of an underpay this is really going to end up being. Like, what do you think his ceiling is? 70, 80 points? Like, do you think I don't know if it's going to be much more than that. So if he's getting between 65 and 85 points a season, then this number's about right in like my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Laffy, he could be a point per game player. I wouldn't put Alexi Lafreniere at anything more than that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because he's not one of those game changers by himself where he's just going to drive, play, and dominate. He can do it in spurts, but I don't think he can do it for a full 82. That's not a knock on the guy, but Panarin's need a Lafreniere, a good player who can complement him very well. That's just how it works. So I think it's the right number. I think now people are going to call it overpay. I think at his peak, people are probably going to say underpay. Towards the tail end, I always forget he's so young.
Oh yeah, 23.
He's only going to be 30 when it wraps up. So, by the end of it, it's probably going to look like an overpay even still. But he's a good player. And if you're just looking at now, it looks bad. If you're looking towards the future, if specifically what he's done the 2024 calendar year, it's a pretty good deal. That's how
yeah. And I was looking at it today. I wrote a little blurb about this on totalapexsports.com, and I was on Puckpedia earlier today looking through it, and the Rangers don't have a lot of players locked up right now. Like, they have like 5 forwards who are locked up for at least the next 3 years, and other than that, Like they have nobody. I think next year is Panarin's last year on his deal. So the way that I kind of look at this is the Rangers are in a Stanley Cup window, and the fact that they only have 5 players locked up now, including this guy, and on the defensive end, Adam Fox is the only guy who's locked up beyond next season. So to me, like that's a lot of wiggle room for this team to extend their cup window well beyond this year. I don't think this cup window is coming to a close anytime soon. With that much flexibility, that is a lot of room to work with. Granted, you're going to be giving, Shesterkin, 2/3 of your salary cap. But other than that, I think that the Rangers are in a really, really good position here. Over the next few seasons, we'll see what happens with it. All right, lots to get into from last night. We will quickly just go through it all. The St. Louis Blues spoil the reunion between Craig Berube playing his old team. Joseph Woll getting his first start of the season against his hometown, which people made a big deal about it. Like he needs to start against St. Louis because he's from there. And it's just ridiculous to me. And the Blues win 5-1. The game was 3-1 for the vast majority of the back half of that game. Blues score a late 4-1 goal, and then the empty netter to make it 5-1. I got lots I could say about this game, but I won't. I'll save it. We'll see how the Leafs do next week. We got a Leafs-Jets game to preview next Monday, so I can talk about my feelings about this team then. They play the Bruins tomorrow night, which the Bruins suck right now, and the Leafs always lose to the Bruins. So we'll see how this pans out. Speaking of which, the Boston Bruins hosting the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars win 5-2. Things do not look good in Boston right now. The Devils get beat 5-3 in Detroit. Detroit is just, let's just win as many games as possible while shooting as little pucks as possible. 5 goals on 20 shots. I believe one of them was an empty netter. The Minnesota Wild continue to win. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning last night 4-2. Now they did fall behind in regulation for the first time this season. So I wonder if that's a sign of things to come. I don't know. But the Minnesota Wild win again 4-2. The Florida Panthers beat your beloved New York Rangers 3-1. I know you're a Rangers fan and it, stings a little bit. Shout out to Bob, right? 400 wins, the fastest goalie ever, I believe, to hit 400 wins. And I also believe the only Russian goaltender to hit 40 wins. So shout out to Bobrovsky. Good for him. 3-1 final score. The Hurricanes go into Calgary, win 4-2. Wasted game. Vladar, the goaltender for Calgary last night, played a phenomenal game, and I felt like that was wasted in a 4-2 win. It was like 3-1 or 3-0 for most of that game, and then the empty net, and then Calgary fought back, made it 3-2, but couldn't finish the job. The Avalanche roll over Utah. Noonan, the new guy. Is Georgie on the sidelines? Noonan doing his thing for Colorado. They beat Utah 5-1. The Jets, the best team in the NHL, the team that we all picked to win the Stanley Cup, 4-3 over Seattle. And the LA Kings, 3-2. Dominate the Sharks in the first period, completely control the first period, put up 3 goals. And then the Sharks dominated most of the rest of that game and just could not get a goal. 3-2 final score, LA, San Jose. After all of that, Andre, what do you got? What is your takeaway from last night in the NHL?
Jets cracking. Teams that have been impressive starting off the season put on a good show. A little bit of a banger. 4-3 OT win for the Jets. Both teams had 30 shots or over 30 shots in the game. What's not to like? I would love to see this in the playoffs, honestly. I know we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves with that one, especially with the Kraken, but it's a really good hockey game. Seemed really evenly matched. Jets scored 3 straight, take a 3-1 lead. And then the Kraken tied up. OT winner goes to Winnipeg. I know I expect Winnipeg to lose at some point. They keep escaping. I keep saying they can't get away with this, and they keep getting away with it. So kudos to them. But I really like what this Kraken team is doing. I thought they were going to take that one. They didn't. And I came away from that game impressed by what both teams did. So I love that. And the goal simulation I was talking about was in that game.
Was it?
Yeah, delayed penalty. So, goalie comes off the ice from Winnipeg. Ehlers comes on, gets the puck, shoots. You see a Kraken player try to hop over the boards a little early there. Extra man on the ice. So that was funny. But Ehlers shoots. He follows through, make sure he puts it in. And while everyone on the Jets is going towards the corner, celebrating, piling on, you see all the numbers hop over the boards on the ice. That part's always fun. You just see Chandler Stevenson on the Kraken circle the net, grab the puck, and just fling it all the way down the ice. Just so funny, so salty. And I get it, but it was just awesome. Anyway, I just want to say that was a great game. I do like what both teams are doing early on in this season. The Jets can't keep getting away with this, though. They will they will meet their maker.
I am not very happy. So, okay, first of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, first of all, I'm with you. I wanted to do a little experiment, a little thought experiment. When will the Winnipeg Jets lose? Looking at their schedule, when will they lose? Now, the thought that I previously said, I'm upset right now because they play the Calgary Flames tomorrow night, and it's in Calgary, and it's 7:00 p.m. EST. Let's get that game on for 10 o'clock. Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. What am I doing? What are we doing? I'm not doing anything. It's not my fault. Come on. What do I got to watch instead? What's on? Pittsburgh Canucks. Okay. Sharks Golden Knights. That's brutal. Hurricane Kraken. Fine. Okay. But Jets Flames. Imagine Toronto, Boston, Jets Flames. What a beautiful doubleheader that would be. And it's ruined. But nevertheless, the Jets play Calgary on Saturday. What do you got? You were going to say something.
You guys got bumped by Sid the Kid. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Bucks Penguins at 10. That sucks. I'm sorry.
Big time. Yeah, big time. So the Jets play Calgary tomorrow night. Then they play Toronto on Monday night, which is going to be a phenomenal game if the Leafs show up. And then when do they play next?
They play the Red Wings.
They play the Red Wings on Wednesday, yeah. And then Friday night, I believe.
Jackets Friday. And then
so have they lost yet up to this point?
Colorado. Have they lost yet? They might have lost twice. I mean, Calgary and Toronto, those are two tough teams.
Yeah.
Both are on the road.
And they play the Lightning next Sunday.
Or Toronto's at home. But yeah, then they have the Lightning at home. They have a day off between all these games though. Lightning, Utah's a win. But Colorado and Dallas, those are going to be losses. Colorado for sure. You saw what Colorado did to them in the playoffs.
A little revenge spot. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Man. They're finding a way to win these games, man. They're just finding a way to win. And I mean, they were leading for the most part that whole game yesterday. But they're just finding ways to win games. Yeah, so for me, my takeaway, I hate to kind of keep going back to this but just like looking at the divisions right now and just seeing the competitiveness or lack thereof in each division, we're giving the Winnipeg Jets all the love in the world, as we should. And we're talking about the Minnesota Wild a lot too, but the Wild, what they're doing, I think is really important right now. Like, this is a good division. And you have, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado. Those Winnipeg Dallas, Colorado. Those three teams are going to be in the mix all year long. We thought Nashville was going to be. We'll see what Nashville has to say about it, right? They should get back up into at least a wild card contention. They should. So we'll see what happens there. But right now, this is a great time of year for Minnesota to just bank as many points as possible. Unfortunately for them, Dallas and Winnipeg just keep winning too. So you're not really getting ahead of anybody. But for Minnesota right now, their goaltending has been phenomenal. Marc Andre Fleury, a little throwback performance from him last night. Kirill Kaprizov, when we talk superstars in this league, this guy's name never, ever, ever comes up. Ever. And if it does, it's a long way down the list, right? You got your McDavid, you got your Matthews, you got your Panarin, you got whoever, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, obviously Draisaitl, Jack Hughes, but Kirill Kaprizov, man, this guy is putting up points one way or the other every single night. And he's a really fun player to watch, man. This guy is an absolute superstar. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And he's getting between 40 and 50 goals every single year. It's just a matter of time before he breaks the 50 goal mark. And just speaking of, divisions, I feel like the Rangers, Devils, Washington's up there. In the Met, the Pacific is wild to look at right now. Like Calgary, Kings, Vegas, Seattle, Vancouver, Anaheim, Edmonton, San Jose. That's just a cluster. Like, who knows how that's all going to shake out before the season's over. And I'm really interested in the Atlantic Division right now. And this is where my point kind of lands. The Florida Panthers have not looked great. They've looked okay. They had a good game last night, but they've looked like they're just kind of chilling, doing their thing, already waiting for the playoffs. They're already 3 points up. And their first place, like by 3 points. Then you have Ottawa, Tampa, Detroit, Toronto, all with 8 points. And then Buffalo, Boston with 7, Montreal with 5. I wonder, I think we all just kind of by default, I can't remember what your position was, but I feel like by default, we all kind of said, okay, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, you guys, prove it to us. I still don't think Buffalo's for real, but Ottawa's been playing some really good hockey, man. Like their defense needs to get better, and like more disciplined. They're giving up a lot of goals, but Ottawa is looking good right now. If Allmark can get healthy, and Detroit, man, they're getting goaltending, which we didn't think they would, and they're scoring goals. So I'm interested to see kind of how these divisions continue to unfold. But yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with the rest of that thought. So let's move on to the games tonight. As a matter of fact, in like 25 minutes, the Ottawa Senators and Vegas Golden Knights. Apparently this is some like annual, it's like Nevada Day or something, so it's like an annual afternoon game for Vegas. I don't know, I've never heard of this before, but that's what I heard today. So good for them. Vegas minus 134 at home, and I gotta say, I think this line is extremely respectful to Ottawa, in my opinion. Ottawa Senators plus 112 at home, or on the road rather. It's now plus 118. Underdog for sure. The Golden Knights are now minus 142. But for Ottawa to be plus 118, don't you feel like last year this was a plus 130, 138, 142, something higher than this, right? So good for you, Ottawa. You haven't made it to the playoffs yet, but you're getting respect with the books. So you take what you can get. Andre, the -1.5 for the Golden Knights is +172. +1.5 for Ottawa is -205. Over is 6 at +100 at 6.5. Sorry, at +100, and the under is -122. Another quick update: +115 for Ottawa, -138 for Vegas. What do you got?
Yeah, weird. It feels like uncontroversially that Vegas is by far the better team in this game. They are home. Apparently, they have the Nevada Day crowd. Who knew that was a thing? So for them to be just such slight favorites, kind of curious to me. I know they had that 3-game losing streak, but all 3 of those games were on the road. They're undefeated at home. Not only are they undefeated at home, they've outscored their opponents 21-9. Colorado 8-4. St. Louis is playing well else 4-3. They beat the Ducks by multiple goals. They beat the Kings 6-1. They're buzzing at home. I don't see why that changes against the Senators. You know what they've done against the Senators in their franchise's history? They've only lost twice. I know it's not a large sample size, but they've only lost twice. And one of them was in February. It was a shootout loss in Ottawa. And I'm pretty sure that's when everybody was hurt for this team and they just weren't picking up points. So very curious and puzzled by this line. I would take the puck line. I think I'm just going to take the 60-minute line because the odds are good enough as is.
Ooh, interesting.
Without flirting with it, but I'm heavy on Vegas. And that's with all due respect to what the Senators are doing because they are playing well. I think they do deserve some type of credit. But they're just outmatched in this game to me. I don't know. I'm not buying it yet.
Yeah, that's really interesting, man. Like, there's something inside of me right now that is leaning Ottawa. There's something that's pulling at me, telling me that Ottawa's been playing well, that Ottawa, they've been scoring a bunch. 7th in the league, 3.64 goals per game. Goals against has been impressively okay, even with Allmark being unavailable for the last little bit. 3.17 goals against. Power play is terrific, second best percentage in the league. There's something that's telling me Ottawa's going to win this game. Nevertheless, I've been fooled by that feeling one too many times, and I am not ready to listen to my gut when it comes to the Ottawa Senators yet again. I just think Vegas is going to be too much for them tonight. The other thing too, and this is not a hockey like opinion. This isn't like there's no statistics that I have or nothing to be able to back this up. Ottawa's been in Vegas for the last 2 days, man. You know what I mean? I just feel like my lifestyle is different now than it used to be. But if we're going old school Mark in Vegas for 2 days, I might not even be conscious for this game tonight. I don't even know. So I don't know. That says something to me too. You know what I mean? I know they're professionals making a lot of money, but Vegas is no. What am I trying to say? They're no. They don't care who you are. I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but you get what I'm saying. I'm going to take Vegas on the money line -134. I think those odds are good enough for me. I'm not going to flirt with the puck line or the 60-minute line or nothing like that. I do. Yeah, it is a business trip, Joe, but I'm just saying, dude, you're in Vegas for 2 days. You're feeling good about yourself. You beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. You had another win. These are 20-year-old millionaires, man. You can't convince me they're not having a good time in Vegas. Of course they are. Of course they are. Hockey players are known for good times, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, Linus Ullmark had a reputation in Upper Massachusetts. That's all I'm gonna say. No, I'm joking. That's not true. That's not true. That's a rumor. It's not a rumor.
I just take one good look at Brady Tkachuk, and I'm like, that guy loves to get after it. I'm almost certain of it. But no, even if they did stay in their hotel rooms for the last 2 days, I just think that Vegas is the better team. I'm really curious to see, man. My gut is telling me Ottawa, but I'm not listening to it about the Senators team. Not quite yet. Moving on, and just again for the record, that game starts in 19 minutes. Moving on to the New York Islanders in Newark to take on the New Jersey Devils. Devils minus 137 at home. Islanders plus 114 on the road. Minus 1.5 for the Devils, plus 202, which is interesting. Plus 1.5 for the Islanders, minus 250. The over is 6.5 at plus 100, and the under is minus 122. Andre, what do you got? Islanders, Devils. This feels like a weird game, no?
It is a weird game. I'm just going to get this out the way real quick. The way that Jordan is bitter and praying for the Yankees' downfall tonight, that's the way I'm bitter about this game and praying for both teams' downfall. Unfortunately, someone's going to come away with 2 points here. It's either going to be the Devils, who have lost 4 or 5. I guess they picked up 1 OT loss in there, so 3 points in that stretch. Not playing too hot. They allowed 19 goals in those 3 games. Offense has been fine, but that's a lot of goals allowed. Then you have the Islanders, who just keep doing this tug of war of offense and no offense. I'm scoring goals, I'm not scoring goals. It's like picking the petals off the flower, like they used to do in those old cartoons.
Yeah.
They're due for 4+ tonight, and the way the Devils are goaltending and the Devils played yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Am I mistaken? I don't think I'm mistaken. No, they lost in Detroit yesterday.
Yeah.
So the way they're playing right now and the way their goaltending has been paired with the fact that the Islanders are on their 4-goal swing again. I'm taking the Islanders here on plus money. I'm taking the
interesting.
over. I think those are both locks for this game, honestly. The over for sure, over 6, just assuming they're going to keep it up and get that 4+, assuming the Devils are going to keep scoring 3+ like they do every game. Over 6 is kind of a steal right now. But you have the Islanders at plus money. Their DraftKings has them at minus 105. And regardless of what your book has them as, I'm taking the Islanders money line as underdogs.
They have them at minus 105. That's a huge. It did move, actually. Now that I look at it, it did move to plus 100. So it's closer to. I wonder why it's such a drastic move. That's interesting. I haven't seen any news or nothing like that, but and I will just change that real quick because that's not just a few points. That's like that's a massive change. Yeah, that's a significant jump.
I'll tackle Joe's question real quick. He said, "How did you guys feel about Wah taking the reins?" I mean, we talked about this a bit last year. Were a good jolt for last year. We thought they needed a new voice, something fresh, and it got them to the playoffs. Kudos to him. But we saw that what happened to him in Denver was he took over. They had that first little jolt, and then they receded, and then he worked his way out of the building in a few years. And I guess just like long term and just what you see from his teams, it's nothing that's very inspiring or nothing that jumps out as like, oh, he's a great coach, like he's here to last. That's how I've always felt about him. I don't know about you, but I think he's a good band-aid. I don't think he's a good long-term solution. And with the talent or lack of that the Islanders have right now, they're just kind of in this weird spot of they're going to be stuck in mediocrity until they commit one way or the other.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. I mean, it's fine. Like Patrick Waugh's a good coach, man. He's won the Jack Adams before. He turned around that Colorado franchise. Like I have no problem with Patrick Waugh as a coach. And to be honest, the guy, I don't even remember the guy's name who was coaching the Islanders before. And I have a feeling he's an assistant coach in Toronto now, but that's another conversation. I don't know, man. Like for me, I don't watch enough of the Islanders to really tell you like what the difference is or anything. Like when the hire was made, I didn't have a problem with it. 2 things though. Number 1, I think that Lou Lamoriello, the GM, is just handcuffing any coach that comes through this building. Like, I just don't really understand the roster construction. I don't really understand what direction they're going. I don't even know if they really know. Like, they're just going to be kind of middling around. Like you said, man, they're just going to be playing the middle for years, and that's what they do. Like, last year, they signed Pierre Engvall, former Maple Leaf, to a 7-year contract, and this is his second year of 7, or it might be his first year of the extension. Regardless, he's in the minors right now. Like, I just don't think they have any real clue of like kind of what they're doing. And I don't really watch them enough to know really like is anything because to me, if I'm watching one game once in a while, you tell me what you think, Andre. If I'm watching one game once in a while, like I'll have a little bit of this game on tonight. You're watching this game and then you look at the stats, you look at the score. It seems the same as last year. Like nothing really feels different yet. It's just they win a game 5-4, they lose a game 1-0. Like it just feels like the same. I don't know.
Yeah. And last year's team, save for one winning streak where it was a lot of overtime and 1-goal wins.
Big time.
And they had a ton of OT losses last year. Like last year's team was a mediocre team that took advantage of a weak Metro and wildcard race to make the playoffs more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not awful by any means. Like it's not like they're just going to get dog walked every single night. But at the same time, there's nothing that suggests they're going to be an 100-point, 95-point team this year or wildly successful down the road as currently constructed. I think that's the state of the Islanders right now.
Yeah.
They need breaks to get where they need to go. They're not going to consistently win.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I've had this feeling for a while that they should just like blow it up. I'd be curious to know what Islanders fans think. I keep trying to get our boy Vin on here, but he won't respond to me. Maybe if he, I mean, we talk all the time, but whenever I ask him about this, he doesn't respond. So either I should get the picture and just get the hint, like he doesn't want to be a part of what we do here, or he now sees that he's being publicly called out and he steps in and does the right thing. But the odds of him paying attention to us are probably who knows what they are. All jokes aside, I love you, Vin. You know I love you. All right, moving on. The Nashville Predators in Chicago. We talked about this Nashville team. We've been talking about them at length. They, if I'm not mistaken, they obviously play Chicago tonight, but I'm pretty sure they play Columbus tomorrow. And if it's not tomorrow, it's Sunday. I'm pretty sure they play Columbus this weekend. And if that's the case, these are 2 games that you have to win. You have to win these hockey games. No disrespect to Chicago. We've talked about them a ton. They have better players. They're going to be more competitive, blah, blah, blah. Nashville, you have to crush this team tonight. And the Blue Jackets tomorrow or Sunday or whatever it is. But Andre, you tell me what you think. We got Nashville minus 172, Chicago plus 142, minus 1.5 for the Preds is plus 150, plus 1.5 for the Blackhawks is minus 182. The over is 5.5 minus 138, and the under is plus 112. Andre, what say you?
Yeah, I agree completely with your take. I mean, even if they win this game in regulation, they're going to be behind the Blackhawks in points. That's a really tough start. But Nashville got their first win of the season. It was over the Bruins. It was 4-0. Nice little shutout. Really quieted the defense and goaltending concerns because they had allowed 3+ in every game before then. They're still behind Chicago when you talk about goals allowed per game, 3.83. But the shutout was really encouraging, and they've beaten the Blackhawks 9 of the last 10. The Blackhawks aren't really scoring. They average 2.5 goals per game, and 9 of their goals this season came in their 2 wins. This is another game where they can take advantage of the schedule. They can, shut them out or hold them to 1 goal, 2 goals, whatever. Come away with an easy win, build some momentum. They do have Columbus tomorrow. They have Edmonton on Halloween. Edmonton's not looking too hot either. We're going to get to them in a second. This could be a nice little run for the Predators. They could screw their heads on straight and get back into this picture. I expect a lot of what we saw against Boston for this Predators team. They had a few days off, which is nice, kind of recuperate, see what they did right. Don't have to dwell on what they did wrong after all the losses. I'm taking the puck line here, and I'm going to take the under because I think they're going to just completely neutralize Chicago's goal scorers.
Yeah, I like that under too, 5.5. Obviously, the 5 number is a little scary, but I'm right there with you on that under. As far as a win tonight, it has to be Nashville. I mean, to go back to the point that I made and the point that you just made, I mean, that's what Colorado did, right? Like Colorado lost 4 in a row, and then they played the Sharks and the Ducks in the same weekend, and they won both those games. And I do think long term the Blackhawks are definitely better than the Sharks, and I think the the Blue Jackets are a pretty good team as well as far as the bottom feeders go. So I'm not knocking those two teams. I just think like that's what Colorado did. They start the season winless. They beat San Jose and the Ducks back to back. Nashville has to do the same. Kind of risky when you're going with the under, but I'm going to take the puck line here, -1.5. This feels like a 3-1 game, all over it. Maybe an empty netter, 4-1. I like Nashville -1.5. If you're, adding it to the under, like I said, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm taking Nashville here as well. And I haven't been throwing out too many props here, but I always love me some Philip Forsberg +130 to score. Also, Jonathan Marchessault, he has got to get cooking here at some point. He's +200 to score tonight, so he's got to start putting the puck in the net, and I'm willing to sprinkle a little bit on him to do it tonight. All right, moving on to the final game of the night, which I think is a terrific hockey game. We'll see. I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins, I'll give you this. Their defense is subpar, and their goaltending is just always a massive question mark. They're entertaining because they score goals and they give up goals, and they're facing Edmonton, who hasn't really hit their stride at all yet. And I'm interested to see what we're going to see tonight. The Edmonton Oilers are -225 at home. +180 are the Pittsburgh Penguins on the road. +1.5 is -134. -1.5 for the Oilers is +112. The over is 6.5 at -158, and the under is +128. Andre, Sid the Kid going to Edmonton, playing Connor McDavid. Did you hear, by the way, the reporters up here in Canada just feeding Connor McDavid just the biggest leading question I've ever heard in my life? Did you hear about this?
No, I need to hear this.
Like a scrum at practice, because the Four Nations Cup is coming up, right? Yeah. And the Olympics are next year, and Sidney Crosby, as of right now, hasn't lost a step. I would be shocked if he didn't go to the Olympics as well as the Four Nation Cup, right? Just based on the way he's been playing. And I know next year's a long time and he's getting older, but they asked him, who do you think should be captain of Team Canada at the Four Nations Cup? Like, what's he going to say? Me? Like, I should be? I'm the best? Why are you at? Of course he's going to say Sidney Crosby. Of course. Like, what are we? You know what I mean? I'm all about reporters asking questions or whatever, but like, what's the guy going to say?
I mean, he could have, pulled something random out of that. He could have said like Alexis Lafreniere, just throwing everybody off. Yeah. I mean, I guess he could have said like, well, that's not really my decision. We'll see, what happens, blah, blah, blah. But come on now, man. This is, one Canadian superstar handing off the torch to another Canadian superstar. The guy's obviously going to say Sidney Crosby. Anyway, I thought that was stupid. But anyway, Andre, what do you see in this game tonight? Pittsburgh in Edmonton. Oh, yes. Well, the rumor I'm hearing, and you can all report this and spread it as much as you can tag at Pucks Across Borders when you spread the message. Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby hate each other, and they're going to fight at the opening puck drop. That's what I'm hearing. So
I hope so.
Spread the word right now.
I
Pucks
wish.
Across Borders, follow those guys. They have all the inside scoops. And
Yeah. Go to Twitter, YouTube, at Pucks Across Borders. Yeah. Legends.
In all seriousness, though, I've been tracking this over since last night.
Ooh.
It started at 6.5. Nice little -110. As I'm sure you know now, it is at 7 most places, plus 100 or even money and -110. They know what we know. And it's one, Pittsburgh can't stop anything, anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. They're going to give up 3+ goals. That's easy money. They know that Edmonton has, I believe, the second worst PK in the league this year. On top of the fact that the Oilers are allowing 3.86 goals per game. They're 28th, whereas Pittsburgh's 31st. They've only held one team under 3 goals in a game. These teams can't stop a goal. It's not going to be a lot of defense tonight. There might be some goaltending, but it might be them turning around and watching the puck hit twine. Take the over. It's set at 7. That's not high enough. You look at the last 7 meetings between these teams. I believe 5 of them had at least 7 goals. It's just the talent. You already know the Crosbys, the McDavids, Draisaitl's, the Carlsons, the Malkins. Malkin's been having a great resurgence this year. I'm just all over this over. This total, especially now that's plus money at 7. I already took the 6.5. So pretty much the same thing. I'm expecting 7 or 8 goals. So roll with the over. That's the thing I love the most in this game. Now I will leave you with one more nugget before I go, and it supports the over, but it also supports the Oilers, who I don't have faith in. So I'm not going to pick them as a side, especially with that much money. But in a post-2020 world, they played both times, or they played twice before COVID shut the league down in 2020, the weird bubble year where the Canadians won the Western Conference, North Division, blah, 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 blah. Since then, starting in 2021, 5-2 Oilers win, 5-1 Oilers win, 6-3 Oilers win, 7-2 Oilers win, 6-1 Oilers win, 4-0 Oilers win. I'm not saying the Oilers are going to score 4+ goals in this game, but I am saying with the way Pittsburgh's defending, you'd be really dumb not to bet on Edmonton over 3.5, Edmonton over 4.5, whatever.
That is insane, actually. That's like, I would love to go through. I'm not going to do it because I'm lazy, but I would love to go through every team matchup over the last 4 years and see if that is the worst goal differential between opponents in that span of time. Yeah, you know what's funny, man, is when I was teeing up this game, I said the numbers over 6.5, -158, and it didn't really even clue into my brain. Like -158 for over 6.5 is crazy. I would be curious to see. What that alternate is. 7.5 +146 for 7.5. They don't have just the even 7 here. It has to be 7.5 +146. That's interesting. So I don't think that, like, this is a long shot bet, and this is, bet at your, discretion or whatever. But I kind of like Pittsburgh in this game, to be honest. And what you just laid out for me is incredibly damning to my take. But I don't know, man. Like, Pittsburgh, they got issues defensively. They have issues goaltending. The Bloomqvist, I think he's playing tonight. Ned might be playing tonight. I haven't seen it one way or the other. But like, it's been okay. We know what Pittsburgh is my point. Like, what we're seeing from Pittsburgh is not like super bizarre. Like, it's concerning. There's things they need to fix, their defense, their goaltending, etc. But it's not. Are you shocked to see Pittsburgh playing the way that they're playing right now? Like they're scoring 3.38 goals per game. They're not out of these games by and large. Like Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. The Edmonton Oilers, on the other hand, they are not at all playing to their capabilities. And so, yes, the Oilers are the better team, but they're not playing well right now. And Pittsburgh is just fighting every night to try to get this. Like, you remember what we saw in like March and April last year, where Pittsburgh is just like hanging on for dear life in every game, trying to scrounge? That's going to be their entire season. Their entire season is just going to be like just scrounging for 2 points every single night. I just don't like the way the Oilers are playing right now. And they're the better team. It's not about that. But you're telling me, based on what you've watched this year, the Oilers are minus 225 favorites? No chance. Like, no chance. And so on top of that, really hurting my fantasy team. By the way, I have to be self-indulgent and ask you a fantasy question to wrap up the show. I was offered a trade, and I need to know what you think. But Zach Hyman doesn't have a point yet, which is crazy. Crazy. So I'm taking Pittsburgh plus 180, man, and we'll roll with it. We'll see what happens.
Can't fault you. The Oilers have looked pretty bad. That's why I'm, avoiding deciding this one. I'm right there with you.
Just take the over.
No trust around.
Absolutely love it. All right, moving on. Wrapping up the show with our best bets, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, wrestling, boxing, you want it, they have it. FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what do you got as your best bet, bro?
I'm not repeating what I said like 5 minutes ago, so you can rewind the tape if you want to. Over in Penguins versus Oilers.
Love it. Short and sweet. Beautiful. Are you doing over 7?
I am. Over 7 is plus 100, because those 6.5 for me is like yours is minus 150 and mine's 160. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Plus 100, which I just threw a tenner on. Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, so our odds are going to be very different, mostly because I don't have 7 even here, but we'll roll with it. Where are we here? There we go. All right, my best bet for tonight. Oh man, it's tough. I think I'm going to do it Nashville minus 1.5, plus 150 over Chicago. We talked about the under here, but if you don't have the under, then I like the minus 1.5 even more. If you have the minus 1.5 and the under, then it's going to get really sweaty for you around 9:45 p.m. or so. But we'll take Nashville minus 1.5 at plus 150.
Love it. You have a little bit better odds than me. Family play, though. That time of the show.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The over Islanders Devils 6.5.
I like that. Let me see if I have 6.5. I do. Yeah. I'm down with that.
All right.
That's what the Devils are back to their old ways. It's kind of what we're seeing from them.
Yep. 100%. What do you got as odds over there?
Oh, you're going to smoke me today. I think you got better than me in all of them. My parlay, though, plus 856. I have over 7 in Edmonton at plus 100. I have Nashville minus 1.5 at plus 145. I have over 6.5 at minus 105 in Dirty Jersey.
Yeah, my odds are slightly better in all of them, but it's the over 7.5 for Edmonton. That because I don't have 7 even, so I have to go 7.5, and that's plus 146. So that just jumps it through the roof. Plus 1130 if you want to roll the dice on FanDuel Sportsbooks. All right, really quickly, I gotta get rolling here. We're gonna wrap up the show, but I do have to ask you a quick question. Actually, you know what? No, I don't. I gotta go. I appreciate all you guys for watching. There's just something happening in my house right now that I gotta take care of. My wonderful son is calling my name. So, and he's not calling my name, he's just calling everyone's name. He's saying mama, dada, nana, mama, dada, papa, nana. He's calling for everybody. So I gotta get moving. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you, whether you're watching live or don't watch it too much later, considering it's 6:06 right now. Enjoy the games tonight. Of course, as always, our thanks to Total Apex Sports. Head over to totalapexsports.com. Get all your betting needs, fantasy needs, just overall sports knowledge needs on pretty much every single sport. First round collectibles, promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. We'll be back Monday. Enjoy the games, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday.